myths, pros, and cons. I've had this bike, this R1250GS, for a couple years, and so I feel like I know what I'm talking about. And so I'm gonna cover 3 things from each of those categories that I've learned over this past 2 years and pass them on. Hopefully it'll help some people. So the first thing, the biggest myth, I think, one of the biggest, is the quick shifter on this bike. People say it's clunky, it doesn't work right. And you know what? People don't know how to shift. That's their problem. It's not very difficult. I'm doing what? 14 miles an hour? Look, smooth. There is nothing wrong. Oh, look at there, 3rd gear. And down to 2nd, no problem. Down to 1st, no problem. I'm going slow. You just have to give it a steady. Oh, that was it wasn't clunky. That was a little jumpy. It's not a problem. I don't know why people have such problems with the quick shifter. And we'll get out here on the road and show you. Oh, watch, in a curve. Oh, look at there, into 3rd. No problem. Down to 2nd. No problem. The quick shifter is not a problem. No problem. This quick shifter works great. This is a 22 model. It's got less than 10,000 miles on the bike. And the quick shifter works as designed. You can't be letting off the gas when you're trying to shift. I don't know what people are doing wrong, but the quick shifter works great. Another myth about the R1250GS is that they're too big for a first adventure bike or a first bike. Maybe for a first bike. I've got a Goldwing I've had for many years. I've had other bikes, but I was told that R1250GS would be too big. It's not. You know, it's like anything else. You know, don't get crazy on something you're unfamiliar with, and you'll be fine. Training, training, training. Practice, practice, practice. Another one, I think the third myth, big myth, is that they're very, you know, expensive to maintain. You know, you bring it to the dealer and it costs you a fortune. Well, that can be true for any motorcycle, probably, especially BMWs. They are expensive when you bring them to the dealer, but you don't need to bring them to the dealer all the time. Oil changes are super easy. There is nothing complicated about changing the oil on this motorcycle. That is for sure. And you know, you keep your records, and you can maintain your own bike. It's not hard to reset the computer on this to reset it to the next oil change. That's a whole different animal, but it's not rocket science. Anybody can do it. I did it. Anybody can do it. All right. Well, one of the things I really love about this bike is taking it off-road. That's why I mainly bought it. A lot of people never take them off-road because they're so darn comfortable on the road. So getting off to the off-road riding I want to do, I can do in comfort. And when I am riding off-road, just simple stuff like this stuff, you know, in my neighborhood, it doesn't beat you up. Little bikes will beat you up. You know, the little bike guys like to talk smack about the the GSs, because, you know, they're too big or whatever. You can't go places. This bike will take you anywhere you want to go. All right, so that's not the issue. It's the driver. So but when you're riding in this stuff, it's not beating you up. This thing it's like a Goldwing on the dirt, man. It's a great bike on the dirt. And doesn't beat you up going to the dirt, doesn't beat you up when you're in the dirt, and takes you home in comfort. No trailers, no ramps, no pickup trucks needed. All right, and finally the cons. Right, every bike has cons. This one's no exception. The first thing is that it's a big bike, 500, a little over 500 pounds, somewhere around there, and it's it's heavy. When it goes down, you got to pick it up, and if you're alone, then you need to know how to pick up a bike that's down. One good thing is these boxer cylinders, man. They keep the bike from going 90 degrees down, so it gives you a little advantage to be able to get under it. There's lots of ways to pick up these bikes. I'm not gonna go into that, but they are heavy. You got to learn how to pick them up. If you can't pick it up, then it's not the bike for you, right? And their parts are expensive for these things, and there's a reason. Some parts, there's a good reason for them being expensive. A lot of engineering's gone into it, and design, and they deserve. BMW, as any company, deserves to be compensated for what they put into it. On the other hand, an air filter for this bike is at the dealership, it's $80. I mean, that's just insane. I just ordered another one, and I can't remember the name, but it's not K&N, but it's a good competitor, highly respected air filter company, and $25. That's what an air filter should be. But and same with oil filters. I can't remember. I've already changed oil once, and went with an aftermarket oil filter. So there's ways around it. Some things you can save some money, but the parts in general can be more expensive when you get them from the dealership, and they're just expensive bikes to begin with, right? This was a $25,000 bike, and that's a lot of money to spend on a bike, but it's a 1250. It's the king of adventure bikes. They invented the category, and you get what you pay for, right? I just bought some Moscow Moto bags to be able to store stuff and go camping. Very expensive product, but you get what you pay for. High quality stuff, and it'll last, just like this thing will last. And so I can't recommend GS enough. I know I'm biased in some ways, but they're worth the money. The high-tech stuff that's in it, people complain saying that's a disadvantage, because it's going to break. I seriously doubt that. I think that's people who just don't want to spend the money on the bike, and that's okay. If you can spend the money and you want the best, this is the bike to get.